quick skill that we've been creating called it's a framing skill that we've used from ShapeUp, and we've taken all of what we've learned from Ryan and some of our own process, and I've put it into one skill. So I'll drop the link as well for you guys. It's in our playbook for the team. I'll also put that in the description if you guys are watching the replay on YouTube. Um, and you guys are welcome to jump in for our team of questions or turn your camera off or whatever. But I'm just going to walk through this skill here. And if you haven't, I think in a previous video, we talked about setting up skills. Use them. They're awesome. You can create all kinds of different ones. So we also talked just generally in our team, we're going to start to commit the Claude directory. Some projects we were not committing that directory, and we were kind of letting everybody come up with their own stuff for Claude. But at this point, we're just going to go ahead and share that in the repo with everybody, so we can kind of keep building a library here. So this is one. We got a skill here called Shape Up Framing, and I can let me pull it up over here so you can see. Um, this is just it's like a framing assistant essentially, and so it's going to go through and take um, look at the framing that we've got, and then it's going to poke questions at it. And also because it's attached to the code base, it's going to be much more useful. And so it's very, very short. Actually, I think it's less than 200 lines. You can also get it. It's on Notion. I threw this into a Notion page and I shared this page so you guys can get the link. Um, and you can paste this into any LLM. If you're using whatever you want to use, paste this into ChatGPT or Codex or whatever you want to use. It's going to work the same. It's not specific to Claude, but I have it built out as a skill right now. And I'm going to kind of take it through like a little use case here. So when we talk framing, we are talking about something like this, where we typically come up with like the problems, what's the outcome going to be, and then we talk as well through, what are we not doing. So this help typically creates a lot of, the frame of the building essentially. If you're building a house and we're starting to build a kitchen, this is where the walls are going to be. We're going to have a wall here and a wall here, and we're not working on the living room, we're working on the kitchen. When we're done with the project, we'll be able to make a dinner, make a meal, have a stove, have a fridge, blah, blah, blah. Like you're kind of describing the things in the kitchen. And the frame really gets us to like, what are the kind of what's the requirements for this project and what are we actually trying to solve here? And Ryan has some really good questions, which are kind of baked into this skill. Like this here, let me make this a little bigger. So like what is going wrong? Like why are we even having this project? Why does this matter now? It's a great question. It's like, hey, this has always been a problem, but why are we talking about it right now? Like what changed? What would success look like if we were to fix this problem? And how much time is it worth? Like maybe it's worth a week, maybe it's worth 4 weeks. We don't know yet. And what is explicitly not being done? So these are some of the good like kind of before, and then it kind of goes into some other things that kind of framing up what the outcome should be. And this will of course get it into our 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6 week projects, and it's also going to justify why it thinks that that scope is there. Now, um, if you're, this is helpful to get kind of a gist of an appetite. Um, I like to, I told someone this week, like if they say like 2 weeks, to me, that's like two deep work sessions with with Claude, and you could get it done. If it's a 4 week, it's probably four deep work sessions. Because you can go pretty fast on some of this stuff depending on how you chop it up. So um, if we go here, so I'm gonna actually do a project here. So we have a real project. This is the group app integration for Tribe. I'll use that as an example. Now we've already framed this. We kind of described how the current process is going to be. We worked on this with Luchin and myself, and I think Janata. And then we've sort of framed up like how it's going to work with this like bridge table and how like the database is going to look. So we kind of have it pretty well thought out as far as how this is going to work. Um, and I think we put 2 weeks on this. Let me see. Um, yeah, we actually put a week. Why not? A week is good. And so if we go back here, we've also like framed up the task grid for it, so we know specifically what's all supposed to happen. You can see Luchin's like 58% through, and this is a good spot. Now we wouldn't normally do the frame at this point, but I have been we did this before I created the skill, so I kind of want to run it through here and kind of help it poke at some problems. And we're going to take it from Figma. Like images are a great way to do this. So I'm literally just going to take a screenshot, and my screen stopped sharing. So let me get it back for you guys. Hopefully it doesn't keep doing this. It's been doing this recently. All right, let's see how it goes. So I'm just going to screenshot this, bring it over here. You can call the skill if you want. So first, I'm just going to paste the image and just say, "Help me," and I can say, frame this up, check the code base, and ask me plenty of questions. Um, so it's going to do that anyway. I'm just making sure that it does ask the questions, and I'm gonna let it sit there for a second because all I'm giving it is this, and it's going to read through all this, and it's going to come back with some good questions. I could also like show it the current thing. It's pretty good at reading diagrams as well, so I could screenshot this and give it to Claude. But I'm kind of connecting this thing of FigJam, and I'm connecting what's happening in Claude now with the context of the code base, right? So we all know the app. We've been working on it in detail, so we kind of tend to know different things. This is a great way to just let it go and search all of the code base and kind of poke holes at our problem. um, I don't have a before and after of this, but I did this with Janata this week, and we had something maybe relatively this size when we were starting it, and when we were done, we kind of ended up with this like massive list of like the problem here. We got much more clear on the outcome. Why is this 4 weeks? And so this is what was the output of our session after passing it through. A lot of this was for a client project, and this was perfect to get it to this level of clarity. In this project as well, we sort of knew the app already. We kind of knew what the client wanted, so we went from their requirement doc and we went straight into just breadboarding. And so we actually took a second and stopped and like rewound and got back to the framing and got much more clear at it. And this is what we actually presented to the client was this framed document. So I'm gonna let this go through, and hopefully this doesn't take too long. Um, and that's great. So, um, this idea of like passing it through this, you don't have to do this right off the bat. But I typically would take it from a client. We generally tend to come back with like general notes and stuff from the client after that. Our process then looks like mapping out what the current breadboard is of what the current state of the software is, and then always kind of looking at like what's the new version. So kind of current, and then like we always label it V1 because at times we may say, hey, what about a totally different strategy and try this V2 option. I think we cleaned this up so you just have the final list here of how we were going to link everything. Um, and typically, once you go through this process, you will quickly go back. Sorry, and it's gonna ask us like we're gonna prompt to kind of where we may have missed something in the problem side or the outcome or the frame. And from our standpoint, for our agency, the way what we're selling to a client is this. This is what they buy. This is what the contract is. This is what they're agreeing to. Um, all of this is to help get clarity on how we're going to execute it. So this is the most important thing, and where we want to be very, very clear to label things specifically. It's very good at like when we have a good frame document, we're not putting features in here. Those we're not that you get this feature or that feature. It's that you can do certain things or you're going to solve these certain problems. So the language becomes very, very clear and very specific. And maybe I'll jump to this one. Um, you know, this was a great deliverable. Like, hey, a project manager can assess their dashboard or their project health in under 30 seconds. That's like cool. I can like open the screen and just see what's going on with this project. Task project progress is visible. You can quickly see like overdue items are surfaced at the top. Critical information is not hidden. We don't have to hunt through things. Uh, we can see all project data in one place. And this is sort of the outcome of this project dashboard we built. But on the problem side, it kept to keep digging and digging and digging until we realized, hey, this client has been working for a year on a dashboard, and they have a place for expenses, a place for invoices, a place for orders, a place for inventory, just at the whole business level. But there was not, it all was attached to a project. And that's what was missing. This is sort of the cherry on top, was now to have this one project dashboard where you can see everything that's going on with this one project. And so they've kind of been working for a year to get to this point of being able to have this one screen that kind of like shows it all at the project level. And so it helped like be like, oh man, that's amazing. Like we got to do this project now. Like it kind of repositioned it to just like, oh, here's another feature to add to the app. To like, hey, if we don't do this, we're kind of like missing out on the whole everything else we've done, because this is now getting to filter it at the project level. So I dropped that in there. I just took the screenshot, and it's coming back with some pretty good questions. Um, it's saying like we have, and so here it got really specific. So I said like, hey, we have hard coded um, issues here. Let me just jump to this. So you can see this. We have this. So if you're familiar with the app, we literally would say on Tribe, we'd have these tabs. I'll pull it up so you guys can see if you're not super familiar with the app. But we would have, let's use Dunder Mifflin. Oh, oops. Great. Okay, I'll sign in real quick. We have these tabs. And so in order to turn the tabs on and off, you would have to have like this little Boolean thing where you would say, hey, is community active? Yes or no? Like, is this one going to be created? Yes or no? And so forth. You'd have each of the tabs would be its own database column. And so we had some examples like this, like is community tab enabled? Yes or no? And then we'd have to toggle those things. And so instead of just, it got much more specific. It said, hey, there's actually 14 Boolean flags right now. And it started to list them out. And you can say, how often are you adding new types, monthly, quarterly, like who requested? So I could start to then have a conversation and answer these questions. And then it would output a new framed doc in like a markdown format. Um, and you can see like these are really good questions. I really like what they're coming up with here. Um, and so I would just start answering these. I'm not going to do it now. It'll take a second. The fixed ordering, I see tab order is hard coded in group page. So it's going and finding this particular page, which would actually grab the JavaScript version, complex problem, but we have like a different repo for the mobile app. So I could have brought that context in. Um, do actually clients actually want, are they actually asking for custom tab ordering? Well, we know that yes, but we didn't really call that out. We just said that, hey, you can't order. It would have been better to say, who's asking for it? What are they trying to do? Um, how do we currently handle this? We put in hacks, to make it work. And then we have columns. We have a column per tab. It doesn't scale. That's correct. Because we wanted to eventually have like 50 different integrations and tabs that you could turn on and off. And so where we landed was like, we're going to end up having something more like this idea with like an integration. So if you want to turn different tabs on and off, you can have that, and you can search for specific, calendar integration, add that as a tab or add it as a module. And this will let us have like hundreds eventually of different integrations. And you can kind of plug and play. Like this tab could be a calendar event. This tab over here could integrate to like a stock trading something. This tab could be, like a button that you push that says surprise me, and like it randomly pulls, fun data. This could be like an AI integration chat. So you can keep making these different widgets for the tabs. That lets us scale it much better. So that's kind of like getting to again the bigger vision of it. And it's starting to ask questions around like kind of poking holes at why we're just assuming we have to do this. Because even as like a founder, and when we're working with clients, there's just this natural assumption like, hey, I need a new project dashboard. Like this is this assumption that we need it. And I'm always very quick to like to challenge that and try to get to the why. And if we ask enough questions on the sort of founder therapy of like, why does this customer actually need this thing? Then we kind of get their vision of like, oh, we can see because they're using spreadsheets right now, and it's this data's all over the place, and they're getting inaccurate, they're missing deadlines on their projects, and they're going over budget on things they shouldn't have to. So now it becomes like this is a very critical thing we have to do. Then we go talk about the outcome of how do we solve all those problems. And then as well, like when we're working with clients, you can tend to like just start to list all the problems in their business on the problem tab. So it's good to also kind of chop this up and be like, hey, I think right over here, these 4 or 5 things together, let's group those and let's call that a problem. This is one project. Maybe that's a project, but there's like few other pieces underneath that are a better, a different project, a different set of problems to go solve. So that's where we could start to carve out more distinct deliverables. Anyway, so go through this. I had this like outcome of like I want to be able to add a new app or a new integration in an afternoon. Like, why is this taking too long now? And what is the bottleneck? So we could answer those questions. And then I had listed out like specific integrations we wanted to see. Um, Again, it's asking why aren't they working today? Like they and it went and pulled us out like, hey, I see you already have an event URL. You have a chatbot embed URL already exists. Um, you know, seems like it's working. Like, why fix this? And then why now? Like, what changed recently that makes this problem urgent? It's like we've had more custom requests for tabs, and we've like kind of got to the point where we're like have added as many as we can add, and we want to make it better. So anyway, so you could go through and answer these questions and kind of go back and forth, kind of chat with Claude on this. I do think it's better if you are doing it in the code base, particularly than trying to do this like just in chat gpt without the context of the code base. So that would be my recommendation. And I think, let me see if I wanted to show you guys anything else as far as what um, this training is. Yeah, so that was pretty much it, just kind of talking through like using these tools here to help us not miss things. We're moving quickly. We may have spent an hour or two in the project. We may think it's already framed, but we haven't quite framed every possible scenario. So that's a great thing to like throw at it and have it kind of poke holes at all your logic. Because many times we either do a very light framing or we skip the framing process altogether, or we think it's 80-90% there, and then once you pass it through all these questions you realize like, oh, we maybe were like at 40% actually. So great little tool. Again, I'll link that to everybody if you guys want to copy and paste that, and I'm going to be adding that to a lot of different repositories, so you'll see it pop up everywhere. So far it's been very effective, and I've been using it a lot the last week and a half. So now you guys all can have it. So I think I'll go to end